The following program, Live and Learn, is made possible by Aging Partners. Find out more on their website.
Hi everybody, welcome to Live and Learn. 20 years ago, the City of Lincoln sold Lincoln General Hospital, and they used the proceeds to create the Community Health Endowment. My guest today and I will chat about what's been going on the past 20 years with the Community Health Endowment and why this is such a great organization for the City of Lincoln. Stay with us, I think it's an interesting conversation that you will enjoy.
It's that time of year once again, time for the Nebraska State Fair out in Grand Island. Always a great time, great food, and great fun. Joining us today on Live and Learn will be the Marketing Director of the Nebraska State Fair, Jace Robinson, and he'll get you up to date on everything that's happening at this year's Nebraska State Fair. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Lita Powell-Drake, and today we have a sweet story to share with you. The Russell Stover Candy Factory, which is located right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And two of the ladies who are on the lines are with us today to tell us the history. You're going to enjoy this. Please stay tuned.
I'm Doug Jost. Today we'll visit with Mitch Sump from Aging Partners about the many services provided by Aging Partners, such as handyman services, transportation, and durable medical equipment. Stay tuned.
This and more on today's Live and Learn.
Hi everybody, I'm Kim Hachia. Welcome to Live and Learn today. 20 years ago, when the City of Lincoln sold Lincoln General Hospital, the proceeds were used to create the Community Health Endowment. My guest today is Lori Seibel. She's the president and CEO of the Community Health Endowment, and we're going to talk about what the CHE does and what it's been doing the last 20 years and a little bit about what the 20-year celebration is going to be. So, Lori, welcome. Thanks for coming.
I'm glad to be here. Thank
you.
Really.
I'm really happy that you're here. So tell me this Community Health Endowment sort of creation story, just real briefly.
Well, it's hard to believe, but 20 years ago, the community made the decision to sell Lincoln General Hospital, and the question became, what do we do with the proceeds from that sale? And the city also guided us in that decision, and we created the Community Health Endowment. I don't know if people remember what the Bryan Hospital paid for the Lincoln General Hospital at that point, but it was $37 million. And so those funds then came back to the city, and we went to the community and we said, how should we use these? What should we do? What is the best use of these funds? And they told us, let's create this endowment that will be used to help individuals improve their health, but also will be there for generations to come. And for 20 years, that's what we've been trying to do.
And I know that your sort of guiding mission is to make Lincoln the healthiest community in the nation.
It is. We've always said we don't want to be the second healthiest, we don't want to be the third healthiest, we want to be the healthiest community in the nation. In some respects, I think we've reached that goal, and certainly in some areas, and we keep striving. We see ourselves on those top 10 lists, and we'd like to think we've played a little role in making that happen.
And so what are some of the things that the endowment, I think of the endowment as being sort of the enablers. You enable the doers, and because you give money away, basically. So tell me about a little bit how you're governed and then why you give money away.
Sure, we have a very unique governing structure. The community also told us they wanted this to be separately governed, although it is city money. And so the fund is governed by a board of trustees who are appointed by the mayor. So there are 15 trustees from the community who help the endowment grow and achieve its vision, and they work very, very hard. Some people refer to it as almost another full-time job. They really work hard. It's a hard job, but it's something that I think they get great reward from doing. And our goal has always been to return those funds in a way that helps the community become healthier, with a special focus on individuals who may have a more difficult time doing that. People that we often refer to as people at high risk for poor outcomes, because the more healthier they are, the more healthy our whole community is.
Right. And so tell me, I know one of your big projects has been what you call the mapping project. So briefly tell me what that was and how that has maybe guided some of your more recent funding decisions.
Well, our community is growing and becoming more diverse all the time, and that always means that we have to keep an eye on understanding what our community is, what it looks like, and how we can best achieve our vision. And so we really thought one of the best ways to do that was to map health issues in our community. So if we were to look at the whole community and divide it into what we called census tracts or smaller sections of blocks, could we take data and see where there are things happening in the community both good and bad, so we could understand our community better. And so that's our Place Matters mapping project. And what we really learned is place does matter. It does matter where you live in our community in terms of the risk factors there are for your health. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to say, if we're going to attack a problem, we want to go to where the problem is the most significant or where it's the most intractable, and we want to work harder there. The language I often use is sometimes we just need to go deeper into some neighborhoods and work a little bit harder and invest a little bit more. It doesn't mean that we don't care about the entire community and that we're not at work in the entire community, but some neighborhoods just need more attention, and that's what our mapping process has allowed us to really discover. The other thing I would say about maps that has really resonated with people is that maps are very personal things. You know, you can look at a chart or you can look at a graph. You don't really see yourself in there. You can't see your story in a chart or a map, but in a chart or a graph. But if you look at a map, your eyes typically go immediately to where you live or some other place that's very important to you. And so when you look at a map and you can see what's happening in your neighborhood visually, it really begins to connect you not only to that place, but perhaps to other places in the community that you haven't always given that much thought to.
Right.
So the mapping process has been a great not only education, but it's really enlightened us all to think about our community differently.
Right. It's a nice tool. So if you had to look back on the 20 years, what are maybe some sort of highlight projects that really stand out as having deep impact? I know oftentimes you talk about that diabetes project where you got a coalition of people to come together, and sometimes I'm thinking of Health 360 that I know you were really involved in. So,
you know, we've funded more than 500 projects, and every one of them have been incredibly successful, or if they haven't been, they've taught us something.
Right.
So I kind of look back on so many of them kind of maternally, like they were something that really contributed significantly to our success. But there are some projects where I think we have what I call transformed the system a little bit, projects that have changed the soil of our community a little bit. And those are projects where we have worked to make sure that every person who needs a medical home can get one. And so we have a project that's called the Medical Assistance Program, or MAP, in which we can provide medication and primary care and specialty care and urgent care and interpretation to individuals who need it in this community. It's become somewhat of a clinic without walls. Mm-hmm. It's not a place, it's not a clinic, but it's really meeting people where they are and helping them navigate the system.
right. But to be clear, you guys don't run that, but you funded the runners of that, correct?
We're funding that, and the Lancaster County Medical Society and many others have been very instrumental in making that happen. And that's the key to all of this. We can't just fund a project and expect it to succeed in isolation. When we look at projects, we really see how the community is coming together, and MAP is a great example of that. It's been doctors and hospitals and the medical society and the health department, and it's been more and more and more people all the time that have come around that. Mm-hmm. And without that, none of our projects can really be successful. Another great example is the new Health 360 clinic over on 23rd and O Street. You know, that's an example of beginning for us all to look at our health holistically. And so having mental health services and primary care services in the same location. And the key to that is that there's only one waiting room. So when individuals come in there, there's not a stigma attached to why they're there. There's not a separate area for people who might be there to see their mental health provider. Everyone is in the same waiting room. Everyone goes through the same door. And so that has really developed a sense of holistic health, responding to a person's overall needs and not saying you need to go there for that problem or there for that problem, but you can come to one place. And as that has begun to work, we've been able to add early child care there, legal services there, a pharmacy there, and really create a wraparound service for individuals, thus the name Health 360.
Right. And I know that recently focus on early childhood has become, I guess, more of a focus, more of a concern. I think nationally we're all realizing that it's great to help somebody who's a high school junior, but we should have helped them when they were 2. And so I know some of your projects you're funding are really trying to focus on that, on helping, alleviate childhood trauma and all that kind of stuff, which...
One of the great challenges of our time is to take care of our youngest citizens, our youngest residents of this community. And sometimes we think, oh, childhood is easy. Childhood in Lincoln is easy. And it's not for every child.
Right.
There is stressors and trauma. There is mental illness in the family, substance abuse, violence, poverty, lack of food, all kinds of things that can be happening. And the thing that we have to know and we have to consider is that what happens to that child, even before they're able to communicate with us, in those early years between birth and 2 years of age, are wiring their brain in such a way that will impact them later in life. And so our call, I think our charge as residents of this community, is to give our best effort to those very youngest children, because the way that they live and grow now will impact us all later in life.
Exactly. That's exciting news. So it's been 20 years. So this is your big landmark year. So tell me a little bit about what you have planned for the 20th anniversary year. I know that you've got some projects, and tell me about them, and maybe a little bit about what you think the next 20 years is going to be.
Well, I'll start with our celebration now. The 20 years I can't believe it's already been 20 years now, but one thing we wanted to do was celebrate. And we wanted to celebrate with the community. We wanted to be able to say, let's celebrate health in this community. So we thought 20 years, 20 events, 20 projects, 20 birthday parties. I mean, who wouldn't want 20 birthday parties, right? And so we are, over the course of the next year, sponsoring, along with great community partners, 20 events in our community. We're really excited about taking the party to the community, being able to celebrate health, being able to make people aware that these funds from the endowment are really at work, and that we do always strive to make Lincoln a healthier place. So our events will be happening periodically throughout the next year, things for everybody, and we would encourage people to participate.
Yeah, and so I know some of them have already started, and they've included things like dental clinics.
We've had a pop-up dental shop. So the pop-up dental shop is we pop it up at a location, we invite people to come in, and all the kids can leave with a dental kit. It includes a toothbrush, toothpaste, sugarless gum, and floss. So something they can take home and say, this is mine, along with a little education on how to use that. And so the very first event we had up in Belmont Park, 300 of those kits went out the door. And so 300 kids have new dental kits, and we're hoping that will lead them to a lifetime of good dental care.
Right.
We also just had a community training for Stop the Bleed. Unfortunately, one of the skills we should all have in these times is how to stop people from severe bleeding. As our community becomes a little bit more isolated, and we tend to think a little bit more about what's on the screen instead of our neighbors next door, we have to begin to think about, if that happens, how can I help? And not that I'm going to not be able to help. So we had a training recently, a packed house of individuals who learned how to use a tourniquet. I know it's really something we've never really thought about, but we have stories after stories, including a local prominent radio personality, Dale Johnson, who a tourniquet saved his life.
Yeah, Dale was a previous guest on a show Live and Learn show that Jerry Reno produced, and Dale has a very powerful story, and thank goodness that somebody was there to save his life with that kind of deceptively simple tool.
It is, and I learned that not every tourniquet is alike. The way that you apply it is very important. It took me 50 minutes, and I walked out with a tourniquet that I can keep in my purse, or it's just a little tourniquet. I can keep it in my purse. I can keep it in my car. So if I come across a biker who's been hit, or someone in a car accident, or unfortunately if there's some kind of a shooting that we hear about from time to time, I can be ready to assist and do that confidently. So all the folks at the training walked out with their own tourniquets. Bryan Health is sponsoring that, and there's right now training's going on all over the community, and we're proud to be part of sponsoring those as well. So I would encourage people to get trained. It only takes 50 minutes, and you could save a life.
It's kind of, yeah, that's interesting. So what do you have going on this fall, and or maybe let's look beyond the fall. What's the short-term and long-term focus for Community Health Endowment?
Well, first of all, we have 18 more events to have, and I would encourage people to go to our websites and look those up. We're having block parties, and we're having Husker tailgates. We're having all kinds of things to celebrate health, so please check those out. Our future is to continue doing what we've always done, which is to rely on the community to talk to us about their ideas. We consider it an absolute privilege to hear people's ideas, to be able to, because we know behind them are rooted this deep passion for helping our community. We can't fund them all, but we try really hard to select ones that we know will have this major impact. So we'll be continuing to do that. We'll be continuing to working with agencies. Right now our fund has more than doubled. And in addition to that, we've given away over $30 million back to the community.
Wow, that's
so we
awesome.
are working really hard to make sure that this asset has maintains itself for generations, many generations beyond you and me.
Thanks, Lori. I really appreciate that you're here today. The Community Health Endowment really is a jewel. We are so lucky to have it. We're lucky to have you and your great staff and the people that are really interested in, making sure our community is the healthiest community. Thank you for staying with us, and I just want you to remember that it's never too late to live and learn.
Legal services are a part of the spectrum of senior services available through our 8 area agencies on aging. Attorneys can assist and educate seniors on consumer credit and debt collection issues, as well as help them plan ahead with advance directives. Attorneys can also help seniors with consumer fraud and financial exploitation concerns, and also guide them through government benefit issues. For more information, contact the Elder Access Line at 800-527-7249.
Watching highlights of some of last year's Nebraska State Fair. Always a great time, and every year there are new displays, new food, and lots of great entertainment. Hello and welcome to Live and Learn. My name is Jerry Renaud, and we have a very special guest with us today to talk about the Nebraska State Fair. It is the Nebraska State Fair's Marketing Director, Jace Robinson. Jace, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
And first of all, before we get going, congratulations on your new job. You are now the Marketing Director, so that is very exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. Thank you very much.
And what are some of the kind of new things you're doing as a part of those new job?
Well, this year it was kind of fun. We went a different direction with our marketing. We are working with Swanson Russell here in Lincoln to put together a fun campaign that in the past we haven't really had a real solid campaign, I guess, to really target specific groups of people, and so this year was a first for us as far as that goes, so that was really exciting.
Okay, very good. Well, and we want to talk a little bit later on about some of the things that our audience would be very interested in. There's the Older Nebraskans Day, which we do want to talk about, but there are always fun new things that are coming to the Nebraska State Fair. Let's talk a little bit about what some of those new things are that people might look forward to.
Right. So, every year we do try and bring new stuff to the fair, and so this year we're kind of excited for some of the grounds entertainment that's new this year. We'll have a shark encounter, grounds entertainment. Sea lions will be coming, but then of course, everybody has their favorites from last year too, and so we'll be bringing a few of those back. Matt's Family Jam, Sandtastic Sand Sculpture will be back, and so you'll see a lot of new things as far as ground entertainment goes, but at the same time, some of the fair fan favorites will be back as well. So. Okay,
good. Let's tell us a little bit about some of those. In some more specifics. That people didn't get a chance to see him last year.
Well, last year, Matt's Family Jam was a very cool attraction. It was strolling, and there's this family that they're a band, and so they pull this trailer around and they perform while they're going through the grounds.
I saw them. Yes.
And so apparently, though, they've outgrown their trailer, but there'll be a stage act this year. Sandtastic was another one that was new last year. And so last year, if you remember, was the sesquicentennial for the state of Nebraska, and they did this amazing sand sculpture, that huge hit last year. And so they'll be coming back. We'll be really excited to see what they do this year.
Fabulous. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that, as I say, I think our audience is very interested in. It is on August 29th, and that is a Wednesday, and that is Older Nebraskans Day. And one of the things that we at Live and Learn and at Aging Partners are always interested in is health and wellness. And there's going to be a number of booths that are going to be available for people to sort of wander through and look at and gather information. Let's talk a little bit about some of those booths and some of the things that people can do.
Right, and so like you had mentioned, it's Wednesday, August 29th. That's our Older Nebraskans Day. And so in the Bosselman Conference Center, which is on the south side of the Heartland Event Center, there will be essentially a health fair set up inside that folks can walk around. It'll be kind of your typical health fair, and we'll be working with one of our major sponsors is CHI Health, and they'll have a number of booths that people can visit, from blood pressure checks to you name it, it'll be inside. So.
Yeah, that sounds great. So if somebody is concerned about something, it's sort of an easy way to go in, maybe get your hearing tested.
Yep.
If you are wanting to find out more about some of the booths are going to be AARP, again, the Beltone Audiology and Hearing Center, Grand Island Area Clean Community System, all of those kinds of
Right.
things are going to be available for people to
Yep.
stop by and to take advantage of.
Right, and the booth will be open inside the Bosselman Conference Center from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Wednesday, August 29th.
Okay. Now, one of the things that always is great about the Nebraska State Fair is entertainment.
That's right.
And we have some very specific entertainment set up for this particular day. Is that correct?
That is correct. Typically for Older Nebraskans Day, we kind of find someone that's been popular in the past and is still popular throughout, even today. And this year, we're very fortunate to book the Righteous Brothers, with featuring Bill Medley and Bucky Hurd. And so I know I checked the numbers before I left this morning, and they are selling very well. And so if you're even hesitating at all to purchase tickets for it, I would recommend to not hesitate anymore and just go ahead and get them, because it's going to be a great concert. I'm very confident it's going to be sold out, so it should be a pretty good time. And that's at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, the 29th.
Yeah, that's sort of fun that it's in the middle of the afternoon.
Right,
And
yep.
And inexpensive tickets, right?
Yeah, it's $6 for reserved seating. So
yeah, that's pretty incredible. The
Yep.
Righteous Brothers, a wonderful act, started back in 1962, had a number of great hits. Of course, it's not the original group. There is one new member, but again, they're still fabulous.
Yeah, we're excited. It should be a great time.
Okay, let's talk about some of the other kinds of entertainment, because it's not just that one particular day that we think folks should go to the Nebraska State Fair. Let's at least mention a few of the others. Should be a great show with Kelly Clarkson, who's coming.
Yep, that's opening night, Friday, August 24th. Kelly Clarkson's coming. She was the winner of the first season of I can't think of what it's called, of American Idol.
Yes, American Idol, correct.
First season American Idol. She's had countless hits throughout the years, and now she's one of the judges on The Voice. Second night we have Sugarland, who just came off hiatus this last year and just released an album, and we're really excited about that.
Yeah, that's really nice, high energy, fun country.
Exactly.
One of our bands, our audience knows I play in a couple of bands.
Right.
We actually do a couple of songs by Sugarland. They're lots of fun,
Yep.
but lots of high energy. They should be lots of fun in concert.
Yeah. And outside, and so usually at that time of night in August, end of August, the weather's beautiful, so hopefully we'll get a good turnout for that. Otherwise, Christian artist Francesca Battistelli will be here Thursday. And then Friday night will be Old Dominion, who's kind of a up-and-coming country band. I think they just won Country Act of the Year. So that's going to be awesome. That'll be another high-energy one that'll be inside the event center. And then Up With People, that's another one that, they were really popular back in the 70s and 80s, and so now they're kind of trying to make a comeback, and so we're excited for people to experience that. It's a little different, multicultural performance there. People from all over the world are part of it, and so we're really excited for that.
Yeah, that's kind of a group that sort of continually changes its personnel, but I saw them a number of years ago. They're really lots of fun. They're sort of inspirational in a lot of ways. And again, it can be high energy as well, but really just very entertaining.
Right. And the best part about them is that they're coming several weeks early, and they're going to get out in the community and volunteer and do all sorts of things that I know the Grand Island community is going to be very grateful for. But then for our last concert, second Sunday on September 2nd will be Night Ranger, and so that Sister Christians, they're a big popular hit, and so that should be another one that kind of a oldies, but should be a great concert.
So lots of really wonderful entertainment. We shouldn't forget about the fact that there is also entertainment all over in a number of stages.
Yes.
So lots of local
Yes.
groups are going to be playing. So there's really lots of entertainment that's taking place. I
Yes.
think you have strolling musicians even.
Yep. We have a one-man band this year that'll be going around. He was here last year and everybody loved him. But you're right, exactly. We have 4 taverns this year and live entertainment every day, not necessarily throughout the day, but very frequently. And so, you know, you can step inside, grab a drink, enjoy some local bands, some live entertainment, and it's just it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's not just only musicians.
No,
I saw
that's
some
true.
really wonderful magicians last year
That's true.
that were lots of fun.
Yep, and then this year we have a rocket robot will be walking around, and then Recycle Cycle. It's kind of an environmentally focused entertainment act that goes around and teaches people how we can do a better job of being environmentally conscious. And so, yeah, it's like you said, it's kind of, there's something for everyone. So.
Yeah, and it's not just entertainment. There are a
Right.
lot of really fun things to learn,
Right.
not just on the booths on wellness,
Yep.
but there are other kinds of things. I know that the Attorney General's office has been there in past talking about scams, and so
Yep.
there are a number of really
yeah.
informational kinds of things that are also going to be there and available.
Right, and definitely too, one of our favorite partnerships is with Nebraska Game and Parks and their display with the fish tanks, but then they have an archery range, a shooting range, and so there's a lot of information there. Raising Nebraska is just one huge exhibit about farm to fork concept and how it relates to Nebraska, and so yeah, there's learning opportunities everywhere. The birthing pavilion, the milking parlor, so.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget about the animals.
Right.
There are lots of animals there.
Right.
There are lots of competitions. There are bake-offs. There are people giving demonstrations about
Right.
different kinds of recipes and how to do certain things.
Yeah, so domestic competitions are a huge part of the fair. Quilts, baked goods, vegetables, all those things. So you'll have that throughout the fair in the Fauna Park Concourse and the 4-H FFA building. But then, of course, livestock, we're bursting at the seams in all of our barns with livestock entries. And so, you know, both weekends we have lots of livestock competitions, open class 4-H and FFA. So it's a bevy of great Nebraska-made, Nebraska-raised items. So.
And one of the things I know you like to talk about is the volunteers, because you could really not put this state fair on without the volunteers.
And that is so very true. You know, we have an average of over 800 volunteers per year, putting in an average of 20,000 hours per year. And to us, I mean, there is just no possible way we can make the state fair as great as it can be without their help. So we are very grateful for them, and just their support for us is just, it's priceless. So
Fabulous. We've talked about a number of things, but if somebody has some more information, you do have a website that people can go to. So let's at least tell them where they can go. It's pretty simple. It's www.statefair.org, and there's a lot more information that is on there as well.
Exactly. Or follow us on social media if you follow social media. So.
All right, very good. The Nebraska State Fair should be lots of fun, lots of new entertainment, lots of new things that are taking place. We encourage everybody to come, right?
That's right.
Very good. Jace Robinson, who is the marketing director of the Nebraska State Fair, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck in the State Fair, and we know, of course, the weather is going to be perfect, right?
That's right.
Okay, so once again, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jerry.
And thank you for tuning in today to Live and Learn for our program. I'm Jerry Renault. Thanks for being with us. And remember, it's never too late to live and learn. We take you out with some more highlights of the Nebraska State Fair.
And we're back at the home of Maria Wright, who just scored major points by recycling. Let's go to replay. Look, there's a package.
Dick, starting April 1st, corrugated cardboard. See that ripple? It must be kept out of the trash. It's not garbage.
Both the garbage can and the recycling bin are open. Maria takes it to the bin. It's gone!
Maria uses easy curbside pickup, but you can recycle for free at any public drop-off site.
Join the team.
And take it to the bin. Learn more at recycle.lincoln.ne.gov.
Oh, I'm Lita Powell Drake, and we have a sweet program for you today, Russell Stover Candies and the history of it. And we have two of the candy ladies who are with us today from Russell Stover Candies. It was a big factory in Lincoln, and many of you may remember that it was opened in 1942 and closed in 1980. They employed 1,200 people right here in Nebraska. Meet Rachel Robinson, one of the Candy Dippers, and Annabelle Neiman of Lincoln. We welcome you, your first television appearance.
Thank you.
Yo, hey.
Thank you.
I know you're going to be fabulous. Well, I think you're going to recognize this next picture that we're going to show, and I hope everybody at home recognizes this picture. I think it's Tom Hanks, isn't it? I hope you saw the movie Forrest Gump. And what did he say, Rachel?
He said, Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Well, do you suppose that he was really eating a Russell Stover box of candies?
I hope so.
We don't know for sure. I wish I kept looking at the picture trying to find it, and I was hoping that he would hold it up so I could actually see if it were exactly a Russell Stover box of candies. Now, both of you were candy ladies.
Yes.
Yes. And what is a candy lady? What does a candy lady do?
Well, there were many jobs, but my job was packing the chocolates in the box. And I worked from 1960 to 1973 doing that on 3rd floor.
Oh, how many floors were there? I know it's a big building.
Well, it's a combination building. There, one of the buildings is 3 floors, and the other one is 4. But they're connected together. They were connected. You could go from one to the other.
Uh-huh. Do you mind telling us what you were paid per hour? This would have been in the 1950s?
60s
yeah,
for me.
60 for you.
Yes.
What were you paid back then?
I think we started out at like $1.25 an hour. But every job had its own pay scale.
Oh.
And so I do not know what the others got paid.
Well, would you tell us what you got paid?
I got paid to start $1.25, but I was doing nothing but dipping, and if I done my sealing, which was a large amount of trays I got out per night, then I would get more money. It depended upon how many you put out.
Oh, so the faster you go, the more you get.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was a car hop at the A&W root beer stand, and I got paid 30 cents an hour. But all the free root beer I could drink. I think I'm paying for that now. Okay, Rachel, you worked the mother's shift.
Yes,
Explain
I did.
that.
The mother's shift was an ideal shift and a very popular one for young couples that had little children, because it was just a 6-hour shift a night, and I had to be to work by 5:30 until midnight.
So therefore, you could pick up your child coming home?
Well, no, we had no babysitter. I had the children by day, my husband had them by night.
Well, what about school, when they went to school?
Well, still, I didn't have to be to work till 5:30, so I was always there for them, get them off to school, and when they come home.
Okay, that's the mother's shift.
Yes, it was just perfect for a young mother with children.
Did you work the mother's shift
yes,
too?
Yes, that's how I started, 1964. I worked there 6 years, and then I went on to days and worked 7 years on days, which was 7 to 3.
Were most of the employees females?
The candy makers were males.
Probably. the men, there were men, they worked the dock, they worked the kitchen. It was men that done the cooking of the candy because they cooked it in these huge copper kettles, and it was a man's job.
I bet they got paid a little more than you too, didn't they?
They may have.
Yeah,
I really don't
I'm sure
know.
they did. Let's take a look at the history of Russell Stover Candies. Of course, the building is still there. There it is at 8th and P Street in the Haymarket. And this is where the oven is located now. If you know, I remember going into that building. I think I did a little show for 10/11 on the candies at that time, so I was there. I want you to describe what's going on. These are the guys that we can see, but what are they doing exactly?
That's the candy makers. That's Jim Schlegel and Jake Lose. And they were really the most important people there because we wouldn't have the candy if they weren't there to make it.
Well, now, it looks like, what's this machine? It just...
it's stirring it up, kind of.
So they're the stirrers?
Well,
what were they
no,
called?
I mean, they were the candy makers. They had to put it in there, and that wheel went around so it was mixing it good.
Now, how much chocolate did you produce daily, approximately? Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
Lots of chocolate.
Yes.
Lots of chocolate. Well, now, you produced, let's see, on a good day, how much? I mean, I've got a number, but it sounds so outrageous a day.
It's true, though.
50,000 pounds a day produced. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
It certainly is now. Okay, let's take a look at some of the pictures that I think will go back into the history. Now, what's happening here?
And that's Pauline Lose, which she was trying to teach the lady how to dip. We had, I called them wells, or they called them wells, and they put a pan inside that well. And then around the top of that well, it was heated. And then we had spigots in the front of us. On the left was dark chocolate, on the right was milk chocolate. And if we were told to do the milk chocolate, then we put the milk chocolate in there. We had to temper it so it was at a right temperature and keep it that way because it'd either freeze on our hands or it would get hot and turn the chocolate white.
Now, do you have gloves on your...
No.
You didn't have gloves. Now, that's really interesting. You stuck your fingers
Our
in the
hands were right in
the chocolate.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Ooh, that's very interesting. Okay, now, here's a line of Packer women on the wooden floor. And what are they doing?
Those are the dippers.
Oh, those are the dippers.
Uh-huh. That's some of the first time dippers. That's not like how it ended up, but they're dipping the chocolate. Like when I dipped, there was a conveyor belt in front of me and the people would put the candy. We had creams, we had chewies, we had ambassadors, we had regulars, we had cordials, and I was elected to do them all. Most of the girls only had to dip one or two different kinds, but I had to dip them all, and pastels.
Did you still like to eat the Russell Stover candies?
Yeah.
After working there all day? Or what
Actually, I was thinner.
You were thinner then? Maybe you're still eating the Russell Stover candy. Okay, what's happening here?
This is an early picture of the packing department. It was updated before I worked there. We still had a conveyor belt that come down with the trays of candy, and there was a long row of ladies sitting on each side of that conveyor belt packing, and we would pack 8 boxes at a time. We would get the candy off the tray and in the little paper cup and in the boxes and do 8 off of every tray. Every piece had a precise place to be.
My goodness.
And when we were done, the box was full. It would have 30 chocolates in it, and then it should weigh real close to a pound. They had tiny little balls of chocolate that they added to the box. If it didn't quite make 1 pound.
I noticed that women are still wearing dresses, and it had to be cool temperature in there to keep the chocolates right. And still you had to wear a dress, but the guys got to wear slacks.
Right, absolutely. There was no slacks allowed.
Oh,
we all had to wear dresses, and of course hairnets, and absolutely no jewelry whatsoever either.
It might have dropped into a real jewel in the chocolates. Yeah. What is she doing?
So she is packing, it looks like, maybe the little half-pound box, which would have 15 in it. The pastel candies, which were light green, light pink, and yellow and white, they were put in little white papers, and most all of them were packed in half-pound boxes. Of course, we also done, 2-pound, 3-pound, and occasionally 5-pound.
Well, Mr. Stover died back in 1954 at age 66. But the woman, his wife, who really started the candy company, Clara Stover, she died at age 93. So maybe eating all that chocolate all that time. And there are still many, many Russell Stover candy stores all throughout the country.
Right.
In fact, there are 31 that still exist today. It's kind of disappointing that they left Lincoln. I wonder why.
Well, the union took over.
The new owner bought it out. He said he would never have a factory that big again, and he wanted his factory all on the same level. He wanted the raw material to come in one end, the finished product out the other end. And he had his own ideas how everything should work, which were different from Mr. Stover. I can tell you Mr. Stover was very precise about what ingredients went into his chocolate. Only the finest ingredients. There were no artificial flavors and additives, not in his candy.
Yeah, and I think you said when you were packing, if things
No,
weren't,
I was dipping.
when you were dipping, if things weren't perfect, it didn't go into the box. Did you eat them then?
They would put them in a seconds box, and then they'd sell them downstairs.
But I thought you said that you might taste one.
Oh, you can eat them, yeah.
Do you still eat chocolate?
We do.
Only Russell Stover's, but it's still not the best.
But it's a lot more expensive today than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
What did it cost in the old days approximately? Do you remember?
I don't know.
I know the seconds were just $1 for 3 pounds.
Oh, you could buy that then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They had a candy store right inside the factory. It was right on the first floor, just inside the door.
What's happening now? Why is it called Whitman Sampler? What is that? Is that a transition of the name,
No,
the Whitman?
Whitman is completely different.
Oh, it's a whole different company?
Yeah.
I thought it was related to this.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, and of course, the wonderful pictures that were provided today, we want to give thanks to Dolores Wannenberg for all the pictures that she has saved all of these years. There she is right there. Oh, thank you so much, because that helped us really tell the story. Dolores, wonderful. And thanks to the ladies, the candy ladies and the dipper ladies at the Russell Stover Candy Company right here in Lincoln. And remember, it's never too late to live and learn a lot more about the history of our wonderful city of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Vulnerable and senior adults might be living in silent fear of elder abuse and financial exploitation. We can do something about it. The Nebraska DHHS recommends that communities maintain and improve resources such as public transportation and senior centers to prevent social isolation. Engage professionals in various disciplines to find solutions to end elder abuse. Every year, June 15 is observed as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, an opportunity to ensure justice for all.
Welcome to Live and Learn. Aging Partners provides a variety of services to seniors in Lincoln. I'm Doug Jose. With me today is Mitch Sump, who's Program Coordinator of Aging Partners. And first of all, Mitch, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me, Doug.
Let's start with some of the in-house, so to speak, services that you provide. Some of these are handyman, and some of them are sort of regular activities in the house. Let's talk about the in-house ones first.
All right. Well, the program department, my team and I, we have a number of different areas that we like to focus on. The oldest program that we have is called Handyman. And the Handyman program has been going since the late 70s, early 80s. There's a little bit of discrepancy on when it exactly started, but the main purpose is to keep seniors in their homes. That's our goal. And a lot of times, if we can provide them with someone to do some light lawn service, to do some minor repairs, even go so far as to do some house cleaning in some cases for people who need that type of assistance, we're set. And that allows them to stay in their homes. And every study that I've seen since I started working for Aging Partners shows that seniors do tend to do better if they can remain independent as long as they possibly can.
So the housework is something that is available to for light housework, or how far does that go?
Well, we have a few of our home helpers, is what we call that program, that are able to do some vacuuming, some dusting. A couple of them don't mind doing some laundry. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis. We have a limited number of home helpers and a number of limited home handymen and handy women, and not all of them have the same skill sets, so we try to match people up with the appropriate skill sets whenever possible.
So these handyman activities could be a variety of things around the home.
Oh, absolutely. We have handymen who are just comfortable doing lawn services and they'll change light bulbs, things of that nature. And then we have other ones who have quite a bit of experience with plumbing and electrical. So,
what's the criteria in order for you to be able to provide these services?
Well, the seniors have to be 60 years of age or older. They have to own the home where the work is going to be done, and then they have to occupy that home. We don't do any type of work on rentals or things of that nature. Just the program was set up that way with guidelines. So,
but you also have a requirement that a permit is not required, correct?
Yes, any type of work that would require a permit to be pulled within the city, we can't do anything with. We're not a licensed contracting house. We're just providing a service for seniors.
Now, the yard work, you mentioned mowing. Can you sign up for the season, so to speak, to have your lawn mowed?
We don't do anything on a seasonal basis. We ask that people call in on an as-need basis. Of course, we hope that they call in more often, especially when we're getting rains. Nothing worse than showing up and you got 8 inches of grass to mow. The handyman get a little bit annoyed with that one. But we do have a seasonal program in the winter where we have a limited number of handymen and handy women who will do snow removal. And because we have a limited number of folks who will do it, we have a limited number of clients we can help. So we do sign that one up on a seasonal basis for snow removal.
What about cost? Is there a cost?
There is a cost. We're on a sliding fee scale, and then the contribution levels are set based on income. So,
but there's a contribution, or is it a fixed amount?
Well, it's a suggested contribution amount depending on income. We have folks who pay as little as $7 an hour for services, and we have folks who pay as much as $27 an hour for services.
And it depends on their income status?
Their income level, yes.
Now, you mentioned snow removal, and that's on a seasonal basis. So if you want snow removed from your driveway, you sign up beginning of the year? And
we actually start signing people up in August and September for the snow removal program.
And then the others are on a case-by-case basis?
Correct.
Now, another area that you're involved with, and you have your shirt on to show that today, is the transportation services. Let's talk about that. First of all, within the city, what are services are provided there?
Well, we have, as you mentioned, we have 2 different transit programs. The city one is specific to seniors, taking them from their homes, wherever the case may be, whether it be a home, an apartment, an assisted living facility, and taking them to the various senior centers throughout the community. Lincoln is divided up into different sections, so someone who would go to the downtown senior center wouldn't be able to ride a bus to the Lake Street Center, or vice versa. but then we also return them home, and that gets people out of their homes to the centers for a meal and the activities and things of that nature.
But will you take them to the grocery store, for example?
We do have some special trips set up through various senior centers for grocery shopping, and then we have a number of special evening programs that we provide transportation to on occasion.
So if there's some activity at a senior center in the evening, they can
yes.
use that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now what about outside the city limits?
Well, then we fall under the Lancaster County Public Rural Transit, and it is public transportation. It's probably one of our more misunderstood programs, and I don't know how it started, but people have the misconception that you have to be a senior to ride it. That's not correct. You can ride it you can ride it unassisted as long as you're 13 years of age or older. Children 12 and under can ride as long as they're with a parent or guardian. There is a set fee for it because it is public transportation. It's not a suggested contribution of $2 per stop. And the only prerequisite other than the age is one of the stops has to be outside the city limits of Lincoln. So we have a number of people who ride in from the smaller communities for various activities. Some do some shopping, a lot of folks do doctor's appointments. But we're starting to see more of a social aspect. People are using it to come in to play cards, to visit friends, to go to movies, to do lunches, things of that nature.
So it's $2 each way?
Yes, $2 per boarding. So if someone gets on in Waverly, it costs them $2. They go to have lunch with a friend. When we pick them up after their lunch with a friend, it's $2. If they stop at the grocery store on the way home and they get back on, it's another $2. So it's round trip with 3 stops for $6.
And that's regardless of where you are in the county?
That's correct.
Now what about the cost for within the city limits? Is there a cost to that?
For the senior center
Right.
transportation, that's just a contribution. We suggest $2 round trip. There's different, what's the word I'm looking for? Drop boxes in the various senior centers that are specific to transportation. And if people want to make a contribution, they're more than welcome to do so.
Another area that you're involved with is medical equipment. Tell us about that. What's available? Is this a rental kind of a situation or a loan situation?
Well, it's a loan situation. The Durable Medical Equipment Program is one of our newer programs in my section. And what it was designed to do is you have a number of people who maybe around their home they have some walkers, they have a wheelchair, they have crutches, things that they've used in the past and no longer have any need for. So rather than throwing them away or giving them to Goodwill, they can donate them to the Durable Medical Equipment Program, and then what we do with them is we'll clean them up, do any minor repairs that might need to be done. If someone were to come in, say you knew that you were going to be having some surgery and you needed to borrow a bath chair for a few weeks, rather than buying one for $80 to $100 at a medical supply house, you could borrow one from us, use it for as long as you need, and then when you're done with it, just return.
So you invite contributions too then?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, one of our big programs we have going is the Be a Fan to Seniors. And we've been very fortunate this year. We've had over 100 fans donated from people in the community, various groups, individuals. And so far we've given out 143 fans as of yesterday.
How do people make contact if they want to make a donation?
Well, the best way is to contact me directly. My phone number is 402-441-8815. Office hours, I'm there normally at 6:30 in the morning, done about 3:30 in the afternoon, but please feel free to leave a message if I don't happen to be in my office right at that time, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
The same procedure if you want to get some of these services?
Absolutely. Any of the services that my team provides, they can contact me directly, and then I'll get them to the appropriate team member to help them directly.
Mitch, you mentioned the handyman activities. Do you see a growth in these kind of activities?
Handyman is very much a growth activity. We're more seasonal. We will have our peak time in the spring and the fall with the yard cleanups, but we're steady all summer long. We've definitely seen an increase, though, in the last 3 years with that program and several of the others, too.
And the yard work, is that a large component of what you do?
Well, it's a large portion of it, but it's certainly not everything that we do. We have a number of handymen who are well-versed with many things. As I mentioned earlier, we have some folks who are very comfortable with doing electrical and plumbing work, but I have some very good carpenters. I have some very good people when it comes to just working with small appliances too.
So what about if people want to volunteer to do these kind of things?
Always looking for more handymen and handy women. So.
And they call you at the same number?
They can call me at the same number for that, yes.
Very interesting, Mitch, and we hope people avail themselves of these services that are available. It's a real benefit for people in Lincoln and the surrounding area, I think, compared to maybe some other cities that these aren't available to them.
Well, we're kind of a best kept secret in town, so any chance I get to talk about it, I appreciate.
Thanks a lot, Mitch, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Remember, it's never too late to live and learn.